This is the Canon R5 II. We're in Munich. Let's go. Now, there are a lot of things to like about the new R5 II. Firstly, it has a 45 megapixel sensor, which we've seen before, but this time it's stacked. And that is going to be a huge difference when you're coming to low light photography. It's got dual pixel AF. There are a lot of things to like about this sensor. It can now shoot 8K raw video internally, up to 60 frames per second. Now, you don't have to shoot in 8K resolution if you don't need that. You can also shoot 4K 120 with audio, or Full HD at 240 frames per second. Now that is huge in terms of what you can do with a camera like this. You also have up to 5,850 focus points, so you're getting full coverage across the sensor when you're tracking focus. One of the cool things about this camera as well, and I think you're going to see the same in the R1, is it's now got a new architecture. So it has two processors in it. One processor which focuses on image quality, and another processor which is dedicated to autofocus and tracking. So now you've got a feature called action priority, where the R5 can anticipate action. Say if you're watching football. So now the AF can focus on the ball or the action, and it will switch focus to the person that the ball is moving towards. So it's anticipating the action in a way that it never could before. Now, keeping on the theme of speed, this is the only camera that can give you up to 30 frames per second burst mode, but it's customizable. So you could shoot 6 frames per second, you could shoot 12 frames per second, you can choose. And another really cool thing is it has pre-burst capture up to 15 frames. So if you're trying to anticipate the action and you don't press the shutter as quickly as you'd like to, you can capture up to 15 frames per second before you press the shutter, which is going to be crucial for capturing critical action when you're shooting sports or when you're shooting wildlife. I think we got it. Okay, so we've got Tiffany to run at these crows, poor birds, but they're definitely safe. She was a very good distance from them. But I had my hand on the shutter just before she ran at them, so I was able to capture the scene up until she got them and spooked them away. And I'm cycling back through and I've got every single flight of the bird, which is amazing. Like, that's the kind of shot that I really wouldn't be able to get without pre-burst. One of the things I'm really enjoying about the R5 II is the EVF, which is a 5.76 million dot EVF, and it's actually blackout free as well. So when you're shooting burst mode, the camera doesn't cut out. You can see all of the action while you're taking the pictures, which is really, really cool. The Canon R5 II now adheres to a new CEPA standard, which means it has an image stabilisation rating for the center of the frame, which is up to 8.5 stops, and an image stabilisation rating for the peripheral of the frame, which is 7.5 stops. And that will make a huge difference when you're shooting video, when you're moving with the camera, and also when you're shooting handheld. The Canon R5 II has a really, really cool combo of processors. So with the Digic X and Digic Accelerator, you can store up to 10 faces within the camera. So the camera will recognize those people. If you wanted to shoot Ronaldo and all of your favorite football stars, you load them up into the camera and it will remember those faces and focus on them only and not get distracted by other players on the field. You're almost spoiled for choice when it comes to video production with the R5 II. It can do 4-channel audio with 24-bit. It can also do photo and video at the same time when you're recording video in 2K resolution. So I could be shooting a video, and while I'm shooting the video, also take up to 10 frames of stills. And that means that I can capture JPEGs while shooting video. It's not a pull from the video. It's a genuine separate image, which I think is a really cool feature that a lot of people will find a lot of benefit from. The R5 II is also capable of shooting in C-Log. There's a support so you can upload your LUTS to the camera, and you can also record proxies to a separate slot. And while we're on slots, the R5 II has a dual slot system. It can take CF Express cards and UHS 2 SD cards. Now, I mentioned the R5 II does have a 45 megapixel sensor, which is stacked. It also has dynamic range of up to 15 stops, depending on your shooting scenario, and it has an ISO range up to 51,200 with a base ISO of 800. worth mentioning at this point, the R5 II has 60% less rolling shutter, so it's much quicker readout than the previous camera. It also now has something which I'm a big fan of, full-size HDMI, which is a really good addition to the construction of the camera. Speaking about the construction of the camera, it's a magnesium alloy frame with full weather sealing, a port for mic and for your headphone monitoring, and also a port for flash sync and USB for power. Here on the top of the camera, you've got a switch so you can switch between photography and video mode, which is nice that you've got a dedicated button for that. You also have a button here for your mic levels and for rating your images. The new EVF, 5.76 million dots, really crisp and clear, blackout free. You've got a nice dial there for your selecting AF points and for navigating the menus. You've got your mode dial on the top, dedicated record button, customizable function button there, and another dial on the top. A really nice clear button layout here as well. So that'll be familiar to owners of the previous camera. Here you've got dual slots, one for UHS 2 SD cards and one for CF Express Type B, which are much faster and which will give you support for all of those higher resolution, high speed video modes. We also have a new and improved IAF mode, which means where I look, the camera can actually see and put a focus point on the subject as my eye directs to it.
One thing I haven't mentioned yet is that the R5 II can now use deep learning to upscale the images up to 180 megapixels. So yeah, you have a 45 megapixel sensor here, but using the camera's intelligent modes, you can actually upscale your images much larger. So you can crop into your images and get a bigger image than you had originally using upscaling.
For the first time ever, the R5 II gets eye control AF, which we first saw with the Canon R3. So now with the R5 II, you can program the camera to see where your eye is looking, and wherever you look within the viewfinder, the autofocus point will go to the subject your eye is looking at, which is quite a cool feature. Now, it takes a little bit of time to calibrate. You have to look in different directions, and it will train the sensor within the viewfinder to see where your eye is. And you have to do that every time you change location. So outside, I had to do it once. Now that I'm inside, I'll have to recalibrate the eye control AF one more time.
Now, I've just had a quick play with the R5, the original R5, and the R5 Mark II. And there are some clear differences, obviously, but the first thing I noticed straight off the bat was the EVF. The EVF on the R5 II is significantly brighter. It's a much clearer field of view when I'm looking through this versus the original R5. And also when you throw in things like eye control AF, the ability for the AF to look where my eye is looking and see the subject, it's just so much easier to pin a target and also to track a target. And I feel like with all of the 5,000 plus focus points that you have on the R5 II, you're gonna catch a lot more action with this camera than you are with the original R5.
That's it for me and my time with the R5 Mark II. I have really enjoyed using it, although I found I'm having to dive into the menu a lot more than I would have liked, considering we've got so many buttons here, but maybe that's just a matter of me getting used to the camera. But I did feel like it was a bit fiddly to find my way around the settings. There should be an easier way to navigate around them. But other than that, I have really enjoyed shooting with it. The autofocus is amazing. The viewfinder I've really enjoyed. The video features, again, I'd love to dive into them a little bit more when we've got more time, but having 8K 60 in this camera is kind of crazy. 4K 120 with audio as well, that's something I definitely would see myself using a lot. So if you're a hybrid content creator, you do a lot of photography, a lot of video, this is definitely a camera that I would consider if you can afford the price point, which we have a guide price of currently $4,499. So that may change, but at the time of filming, that's what we've been told the price might be. So yeah, I think it's been a really good time in Munich with the camera. I think you guys should let us know what you think about the camera in the comment section. Make sure to subscribe and we'll see you in another video.